The winter mist clung to the valley of Kurotani like a living thing, curling around the pine trees and slipping between the roofs of the village below. Dawn had not yet broken, and the world existed in that silent moment between night and morning, where even the birds dared not speak. On a narrow ridge overlooking the valley stood a lone samurai, his armor darkened by age and weather, his posture unmoving despite the cold that gnawed at flesh and bone. His name was Hayato of the Fallen Banner, once sworn to a lord whose castle now lay in ruins, whose blood had soaked the earth where the rice fields struggled to grow again. Hayato's breath rose in pale clouds as he watched the village below. He had arrived the previous night, slipping through the forest like a shadow that remembered how to be human. His journey had been long, marked by battlefields abandoned by history, and roads haunted by bandits who mistook his silence for weakness. Each step he took carried the weight of a past he could not bury, and each dawn reminded him that survival was not the same as living. The banner he once carried had burned, but its ashes still marked his soul. Years earlier, Hayato had been a retainer of Lord Masanori, a daimyo whose lands stretched across 3 provinces and whose word once carried the authority of law and fear alike. Masanori was neither kind nor cruel. He was precise, a man who believed order was worth any price. Hayato had believed in that order, had sharpened his blade in its name, and had silenced his doubts beneath layers of discipline. When rebellion came, swift and merciless, Hayato fought until his arms failed him, until the screams of dying men drowned even his own thoughts. When the castle fell, Masanori was executed, and Hayato was left alive not by mercy, but by indifference. The world after the fall had no place for men like him. Samurai without lords became Ronin, and Ronin became ghosts, wandering a country that no longer remembered what they had been created for. Hayato wandered through provinces torn by famine and lawlessness, taking work when he could, killing when he must, and sleeping beneath skies that felt far too large. His name spread quietly, not as a hero's, but as a warning whispered among bandits and corrupt officials alike. It was hunger that brought him to Kurotani. The village was small, surrounded by forests dense enough to hide both spirits and men with darker intentions. Smoke rose thinly from a few chimneys, suggesting life that had learned to survive quietly. As Hayato descended into the valley, he sensed eyes watching him, not with hostility, but with fear sharpened by experience. Villages like this had learned that strangers rarely arrived without consequence. He entered just as the sun broke through the mist, painting the ground in pale gold. Farmers paused in their work, hands tightening around tools that could double as weapons. Hayato bowed low, a gesture of respect that cost him nothing and earned him just enough trust to pass unchallenged. He asked for food, offering coin worn smooth by countless exchanges. An old woman with tired eyes sold him rice and pickled vegetables, her hands trembling not from age alone, but from something heavier. As he ate, he noticed the signs. Doors reinforced with extra wood. Children kept close to their mothers. Men standing too straight, too alert, as if waiting for a storm they could already smell. Hayato had seen this before, in villages pressed beneath the heel of someone who believed power was permission. He finished his meal slowly, considering his path. He had sworn never again to bind himself to another's cause, yet something in the air here carried the weight of an unfinished story. The answer came before he could leave. A shout cut through the village, sharp and panicked, followed by the thunder of hooves. Riders burst from the forest, armored poorly, but armed well, banners stitched with the mark of the Black Wolf clan. Hayato recognized the symbol instantly. The Black Wolves were not a clan in the old sense, but a mercenary force that had grown fat on chaos, selling protection they never intended to give, and punishment they delivered freely. The villagers scattered, fear erupting into motion. The riders dismounted, laughing as they kicked over baskets and seized whatever caught their interest. Their leader, a thick-necked man with a scar splitting his face, demanded tribute that had already been paid twice that season. When an elder protested, the man struck him down without hesitation, the sound of bone breaking echoing like a gunshot in the morning air. Hayato rose. The moment stretched, fragile as glass. He could leave, vanish back into the forest, and let the world remain as cruel as it had always been. He could also draw his blade and accept the consequences that followed. His hand moved before his mind finished the thought. Steel whispered free from its sheath, a sound that cut through laughter and turned heads. The first rider died without understanding how. Hayato moved with a precision carved by years of survival, his body remembering what his heart tried to forget. The second screamed, the third fell, and suddenly the village square was chaos. The wolves fought back, surprised but vicious, yet they were hunters accustomed to frightened prey, not a warrior who had walked through hell and returned empty-handed. When it was over, bodies lay scattered like broken dolls. Hayato stood among them, blood darkening the dirt beneath his feet. The villagers stared in stunned silence. No cheers came, only the quiet realization that violence had once again visited their home, even if this time it wore a different face. The village head bowed deeply, gratitude and terror mingling in his expression. He begged Hayato to stay, to protect them from the retaliation that would surely follow. Hayato looked toward the forest where the wolves had come from, knowing they would return in greater numbers. He also knew that walking away would mean condemning these people to a fate he had seen too many times before. He nodded once. That night, as the village slept uneasily, Hayato sat alone beneath the stars. He cleaned his blade with careful hands, watching the blood vanish from the steel as if it had never been there. He wondered if redemption was something a man like him could ever claim, or if all he could do was stand between the innocent and the darkness until the darkness finally claimed him too. Far away, beneath a black banner marked with a wolf's head, word of the slaughter reached ears that listened carefully. A price was placed on Hayato's head, and the gears of fate began to turn. The retaliation came not as a sudden strike, but as a slow tightening of the world around Kurotani. Roads that once carried traders fell silent. Smoke signals rose from distant hills. Warnings passed between unseen hands. Hayato trained the villagers as best he could, teaching them how to stand together, how to survive the first moments of an attack. He knew it would not be enough. The Black Wolves were many, and they would not forgive humiliation. As days passed, Hayato felt the old weight return, the burden of command he had sworn never to carry again. Each decision pulled him deeper into responsibility, and each night he dreamed of Masanori's burning castle, of banners falling like wounded birds. He woke each morning with his jaw clenched, reminding himself that this was not the same war, that these people were not soldiers sworn to die for ambition. The wolves arrived at dawn on the seventh day, their numbers darkening the edge of the forest. They advanced without haste, confident in their strength. Hayato stood at the village gate, armor repaired and blade steady. Fear moved through the villagers like wind through grass, but they did not run. They stood because he stood. The battle that followed. Hayato fought as if the years had been stripped away, his movements flowing with lethal clarity. He was wounded once, then again, but pain had long ago lost its authority over him. Around him, villagers fought desperately, some falling, others discovering strength they had never known they possessed. When the leader of the wolves finally faced Hayato, recognition flared in his eyes. He mocked Hayato's past, his fallen lord, his meaningless survival. Hayato listened in silence, then struck. The fight was short and final. When it ended, the Black Wolf clan broke, their myth shattered by a single man who refused to kneel to fate. The victory did not feel like triumph. As the survivors fled, Hayato sank to one knee, blood soaking into the earth. The villagers gathered around him, hands reaching out, voices trembling with gratitude and grief. Hayato realized then that he had not saved them alone. They had saved each other, and in doing so, had saved something within him as well. He did not stay. When his wounds healed enough, he left before dawn, his departure quiet and uncelebrated. Legends did not belong to villages that needed peace. As he walked back into the forest, the world felt different. Not kinder, but more honest. He was still a Ronin, still a man without a lord, but he carried something new now, a purpose not bound by banners or bloodlines. Somewhere, others would hear of Hayato of the Fallen Banner, the samurai who stood when the world demanded he disappear. His story would change with each telling, growing larger than the man himself. Hayato did not care. He moved into mist and memory, knowing that as long as injustice drew breath, his blade would not rest. And so the road continued. endless and uncertain, beneath a sky that watched silently as one man chose, again and again, to stand. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and comment.